Hey guys, welcome to Up the Coast with Alex and Britt. So we are officially headed into the last week of regular season. Some teams are already done with the remainder of games. Some teams do have a couple left to play. So Britt, do you want to just kind of general thoughts about where we are?
Yeah, I feel like Clearwater seems so far away, but it also feels like we were just recapping what happened in Clearwater. And now you're packing your bags to go to the ACC tournament. Like we're getting there, and it's pretty crazy how fast it happens. We say it every year, but this is the final stretch.
Yeah, this one did feel like exceptionally fast. And normally, like when you do a ton of games, a lot of coverage, like I feel like both
How
of
many
us
games did you
do.
do? How many did you do?
Yeah, I think I've done 63. I've got one more game to call this week. So yeah, I think it'll be 64. I'd have to like recount, but yeah. But it does normally feel like at the end, at this end part, I'm like, okay, it's been long because it's been so many, but I don't feel like that at all this year. So it's weird.
Well, I think you had good football too, right? That helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps. Quality of teams definitely helps. So RPI was released headed into this week. We've got, I think, a couple of teams that we feel we're pretty confident are going to host. Florida State came in the number 10 spot. Duke is sitting at 12. Stanford is right on the cusp there at number 18. Virginia Tech 21, Clemson 22, Virginia 28, Louisville 29. Georgia Tech just finished their big series against Florida State. They're at 43 right now, and UNC is kind of on the other side of that bubble at 48.
Yeah, UNC had every opportunity in front of them with the Florida State, Duke, and Virginia Tech games, and they were able to get one from Duke that would put them their only top 25 RPI win. They do have a loss to a team below 150, so they don't have a clean sheet there. I think it'll be really hard for them to get in. But, it's a couple of these SEC teams that don't finish above 500. There's a couple other spots they could sneak into. I hate it,
Yeah.
but I would be surprised if they got in. Georgia Tech below that 40 mark that we like to see them at, but they could help themselves in the ACC tournament still. But I think they're in. They've put together a good resume. Duke and Florida State, I think they're top 16 seed. Florida State could make a run and push for a top 8. Duke too, honestly, their resume's incredible with 12 top 25 wins. 25 RPI wins. Oklahoma, Tennessee, and A&M, the only teams with more than that. So Duke makes a run in the ACC tournament. They could make a run to that top 8 seed, I think.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a really big week and a half of softball ahead. I don't think that, to your point, like I don't want to say there's nothing to lose. There's always things to lose, but things could really just help these teams. Like right now where Florida State sits, I don't know that they're going to be a top 8 seed. Again, if they sweep Boston College, if they beat Florida this week, if they win the ACC tournament, yeah, maybe they do, right? Break that top 8. But all the things would have to go right for that. I think Duke has a big opportunity in front of them, and the rest we'll see. I do agree too. UNC's not on, I think, the right side of the bubble that we would like to see. I do think Georgia Tech has a little bit more of a case for themselves, and we'll get more into that. But a couple of injury watches and things that we saw from this past weekend: Sierra Manis, Marin Heller, both. Some unfortunate things that happened. I know Heller had the big collision to end the game in game 1 against Georgia Tech. So I think right now it's just a day-by-day thing and just hoping that everything's okay. We did see her walk off the field, which is always a good sign, but just super unfortunate.
For her to walk off, if you did not see what happened, she was fielding a ground ball at second base. Runner and her are meeting at the same time, and the runner decides, I'm assuming, is deciding to jump over Marin Heller, but instead does a flying knee to the face. So that's like a UFC MMA move that she took and was able to walk off the field, but didn't look good. Then the other one you mentioned, Sierra Manis, that's huge for Clemson. She left the game in game 1 in a 1-run game, and after walking one batter in the top of the 3rd or top of the 4th, something like that. You never see Sierra Manis getting pulled in a close ball game, and then we didn't see her again the rest of the weekend. So that's a major concern with Clemson. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. So let's get into, I think, some series recaps of what we saw. We'll start with Florida State, Georgia Tech. Florida State did end up sweeping the series, but it was a really good fight from Georgia Tech. This Georgia Tech team, I feel like, has been really good all season long. They've put together some really close games. In fact, 12 of their 26 losses have been games they lost by 2 runs or less. So it just shows they are right there. A lot of the times they're one swing away from coming out on the other side. I just think there's a lack of maybe timeliness with some of those, right? And that's typically what it boils down to. But Florida State has been doing fantastic. Definitely that team that we feel like things have to be perfect to really sit in the top 8 for that spot. But we'll see. They're in a really good spot headed into Boston College. They are not, nobody right now, I guess, technically is in the number 1 spot for ACC standings for regular season. So Florida State has to sweep this weekend to be the winner.
Yes.
Yeah, outright runner.
Before
I
we
couldn't
have to
think of that
dive
word.
into that crazy tie break, win percentage, opponent, whatever. So Florida State does take care of business. They'll get that with Duke losing a game to Clemson this past weekend.
Yeah.
But I thought Georgia Tech put up a hell of a fight against Florida State. I mean, they took the series last weekend against Virginia Tech, and they needed to. They went into extra innings with Florida State. They had some long balls, timely hitting, but Florida State was just able to edge them out. And I thought, again, Ashtyn Danley coming in clutch moments in the circle was huge. I thought Jazzy looked good. She threw the no-hitter, by the way.
Mhm.
No-hitter for Jazzy, which is a big deal. Torres, what, she have 2 or 3 home runs this weekend?
She had 3 home runs, 1 to lead off the game again. I think 7th leadoff home run to start a game.
Mm-hmm.
Just legit. Obviously, we've talked about how consistent she's been all season, but she's gotten better too as of late. She's immensely improved her power game. She's hit 9 home runs in her last 13 games. So just insane. It's like she's been peaking or like on that upward trajectory all season long, and now it's just like skyrocketed for the power play.
Yeah.
So big stuff there.
Well, that was good for Florida State too, to go to Georgia Tech and get some close wins. So overall thoughts on Florida State as they stand now?
I think they're still really good. I think there's still a question of once you get past Danley, once you get past Francik, who is going to step up. I've said it for like the last week or two. I think the teams that go the furthest in postseason are going to be the ones with the deepest staffs, or just somebody that has that dog in the circle, right? That can actually like wear the brunt of it. But the offenses are just too good, and Florida State does a good job of scoring a lot of runs. So I think they're in a good place. I feel comfortable. I think everybody's beat up right now. I think everybody lacks pitching depth.
Yeah, I think Anna Hind was somebody that has been good all year, but has really stepped up as of late for this lineup. She's playing like a mature player, like she has all year, but now she has the experience behind it. So I think she's going to be a person to watch out for down the stretch. And I'm just still waiting on Kennedy Hart to just break out. Like I want to see her go nuts in the postseason, the ACC tournament this weekend, because she's so good. She's so good. So she would be a big piece for me to watch.
Well, and big note, too, on Anna Hind. They were in that game 3. It was the 7th inning, top of the 7th, of course. And they were down to the last strike. She was in, I think, a 1-2 count or maybe a 2-2 count, but she hit an extra base hit to score the game-tying RPI. So a freshman playing with a lot of maturity, really good stuff. But yeah, it was a really fun series to watch, and definitely didn't let me down.
No, that was good. That was good for both sides. I know Georgia Tech wanted to pull 1 or 2 out there to make themselves feel better going into Selection Sunday. Georgia Tech has 1 midweek game left, and then they'll be done with the regular season. One more note. Do you want to talk about Reese Hunter?
Absolutely. Have to.
Yeah, she's just been so good for them, right?
Yeah, she's been good behind the dish. Just somebody that consistently throws people out. I think her presence behind the plate has been a lot of fun to watch. And this is somebody that's had to navigate, just a lot of different arms throughout her time and to step up and consistently be that leader. She swings a good bat too, but it's just the defensive presence and aura that she has. She's thrown out 11 runners this season. I think one that really caught my eye this weekend was on Twitter or X or whatever. The pitch like literally bounced and just still had the runner out by a couple of steps. And I think the quickness and swiftness behind the plate, it gets overshadowed a lot by offense, and just that's pretty standard. I feel like defense a lot of times does get overshadowed unless you're the pitcher. And she's just been fantastic.
She's been swinging the bat well. Another big win midweek, Florida State took the win over Florida. Danley, again, coming in some crucial spots in the circle. That helped Florida State's RPI, and we're recording before the rematch in Gainesville, so we'll have to see what happens there. But Good week for Florida State.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, Issa Torres had a couple of home runs there, just
Oh yeah.
casual. Nothing new for her. All right, Clemson Duke. This one was a doozy. A lot of fun. Clemson still gives us like the what the heck, I think at least for me, feelings because you see glimpses of great potential. And then, some days it's just like, where'd it go? Who is this team? But Duke is doing Duke things. I think they're playing some of their best softball at the right time.
Yeah, I think the offense that Duke brings, that lineup is scary. And now that Gabby Shattuck, the freshman, has gotten into the lineup behind the plate and swinging the bat, it's really, really scary, like power wise. And Deanna Jennings at the top. How about her getting that ball? Thank God she was wearing that face mask. I mean,
Yeah.
that was scary, but she's fine. But Deanna Jennings, Amina Vega, and then you have the speed and power. I mean, Jennings hit a home run this weekend, but speed and power top two, and then it's just hammer, 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 hammer. Add Shattuck, another hammer in there. So that lineup is going to be tough. And I think the biggest takeaway was like Cassidy Curd looked like Cassidy Curd again. She had a complete game shutout, set the Duke record. I think it was 13 career complete game shutouts. So seeing her go on a full game, limiting the runs, being able to make the adjustments after a little bit of a rocky start is huge for Duke. Big, big, big time.
Agree. And then still, I think one of the most impactful transfer pickups is Tyrena Jones. She just set the program record this weekend in single season home runs. She hit her 20th and broke on a gold before that. So just really big stuff and really big power plays for this Blue Devil team that, again, playing some of their best ball at the best time or the right time. And yeah, like you look at that lineup, Layla Lamar and now Gabby Shattuck. And there's not an easy out. KK Mathis, like just doing a good job on both
And
sides
then
of the ball.
the way they run the bases too, man. I saw 2 runs scored. First one was Amina Vega's on second base. A ball hit up the middle. Kylie Schnell dives and stops it. Vega's going home the whole way, never stopped. Ground balls, shortstop. She scores from second base. That happened twice in one game. So they are aggressive, fearless. I mean, just offensively crazy. But Cassidy Curd looking good at this point in the season is big. I think in the past we've seen her get run down at this part of the season where I think she's looking her best so far. But what happens after Cassidy, that's still up in the air right now. But a little bit about Clemson, unless you have anything else on Duke.
No, I'm on the same page. I think, again, when we talk about signs of life for Clemson, like you see some of these names and they're the usual suspects: Mac Pavisi, Kylie Johnson, Marianne Collins, Sarah Bro, Macy Cintron, Jameson Brockenbrough, like all these people. Kylie Schnell has been fantastic defensively. And they came away, I don't remember the score. I want to say it was like 13-11 or just something crazy in game 2. But that's me, again, a lack of pitching depth across the board on that. But the hitters are hitting.
Yeah, but with Sierra Manis going down and not coming back was really, really hard for them because they couldn't use her the rest of the way. But then Abby Dunning being able to get the win, even though Duke trying to make that comeback. Kylie Johnson, she comes alive at the end of the year. She had an unbelievable catch in left field in that game too. Robs a home run, a legit home run robbery, throws out a runner at the plate, saves another run there, hits a home run. So she had an incredible game, but it's just Abby Dunning statistically with the distance, she left the game and had to come back in. So good for Abby Dunning to be able to go. And then she had to go game 3 too. So a lot on her plate. How many innings has Sierra Manis thrown this year? They've used her so much.
Yeah. Well, and a big part of that too, remember Macy Cintron wasn't healthy, so she's now starting to come in and try to get some innings when she can as well. But it's been hard. It's been a long life out there, I think, in the circle for some of these arms.
159 innings on the year. That's
a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So hopefully she gets better. It seems like the bats are getting better for Clemson, but they're always a question mark. We'll see how they put it together in the ACC tournament because you give Sierra Manis the ball with just one game playing a different team every day, that could work well for them.
Right. So we'll see. I do think that there's a lot of great seniors in the game right now. And, we'll go back to Duke for a minute. I think that Cassidy Curd, Deanna Jennings, Amina Vega were huge, and the series wins this weekend.
Yeah.
or the series win in general this weekend. But yeah, Duke is rolling. So excited to see Clemson, though, like you said, against one opponent. Maybe depending on how Manis plays out, like it could be a crazy tournament. We'll see.
I think it will be. It'll be fun. All
Yeah.
right.
Talk about your
UNC.
Tar Heels.
Oh man.
Yeah.
At Virginia Tech. And it was like they had the game every game, just like they were one strike away in the midweek against South Carolina to winning that game. Like
Yeah.
they've had so many opportunities to play themselves in the postseason. The pitching is just like, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
I feel bad. Like, because they're trying, but they're just leaving it over the plate or walking. Kenneray Dart came in and she got through a clean inning, and then it was just like bomb city that next inning off of her. But they gave up some leads. The offense is still legit, but this could be a get right series for Virginia Tech, who came off that series loss to Georgia Tech, lost the midweek to Liberty, who's just now at 500. So hopefully Virginia Tech gets things back on track, but I am a little concerned about Emma Mazzarone in the circle. Not looking great. Didn't record an out in the game that went into that weather delay, and then didn't put her back in after that weather delay. So they need that 1-2 punch with her and Bree Carrico, and that's kind of been what's carried them, even though their offense has been great. But that's what set them apart, I think, is that 1-2 punch in the circle.
I agree. And let's go back now to talk about Virginia Tech offense, of course. And they've been really good all season long at scoring a lot of runs. The swing that sealed the deal, if you will, was the Nora Abramovich. I say like that is a tongue twister every time. Abramovich.
You'll get it.
Yeah. Hit her 15th home run of the season. And that was the big walk-off swing. But they've out-hit opponents in 45 of their 50 games now this season. Like, that is insane. The hitters are hitting. We talk about it. And it gives a little bit more flexibility and leeway for the pitchers, whether it's confidence, ability to mess up, honestly, and just have a little bit more margin for error there when your hitters score a lot of runs. So really big stuff. And then I think on both sides right now with what's going on with Emma Mazzarone, again, Virginia Tech to me had been the team that had a good amount of depth in the circle. I think I was most encouraged actually by their pitchers, but we'll see how it plays out with Mazzarone and everything else. But the bats are hard to stop for BT. We talked about Nora, and we talked about we'll now talk about Rachel Castine, Kylie Aldridge, lots of home runs, but that's nothing new. So
no, it's not. And like I said, I hope this is a turnaround series for UNC. I mean, for Virginia Tech, because they're too good not to make a deep run in the postseason. Just got to get that Mazzarone back on track. See, we saw her a whole rest of the season prior to Georgia Tech. Bree Carrico looked a lot better this weekend. But Virginia Tech hopefully trending back in the right direction, and we can keep our fingers crossed for UNC.
Yep. And then of note too, Michelle Chatfield set a program record, 9 RBIs in a single game this weekend. That was big. Love the record.
3 home runs, right?
Yeah. Set the or just love talking like the record-breaking performances, whether it's career numbers, whether it's a single game, whatever it is. That's really the big stuff. And then Emily Leggett and Shelby Barbie are now the first offensive duo to each have 60 or more RBI in a single season at the same time. So love that for UNC too.
Yeah, love it for those hitters have been having a heck of a year.
Yeah, it's tough, right? When the hitters are hitting and the pitchers are not
doing their best.
Yeah. Syracuse, Louisville, we're going to talk about Louisville. So they swept. They did break into the top 25 this past week. Love to see that. They're getting the recognition I feel like they have worked really hard for. Coach April, I think, has been fantastic. It's taken time. It's taken belief. And honestly, it's taken a lot of these kids going through a couple of seasons and learning the speed and the pace of college softball and then making those adjustments. You see what they're able to do. Easton Lotus, a big part of that. Obviously Chelsea Mack, all the things. So
yeah, I think Louisville knows who they are and they play into their strengths, and they do that in a really good way. I think it gets overlooked too that their biggest offensive producer last year, Char Lorenz, transferred out. I mean, we keep seeing that happen with Corby Otis happened to Louisville too, but they're still rolling. I think they're right now 3rd in the ACC, which is huge for a team that didn't even make the ACC tournament 2 years ago. So Good
Yeah,
on the
agree.
bullhead. They're fun to watch play. When we sit around and just watch bombs get hit all the time, they're a fun team to watch run the bases, steal bases. I
Yeah.
think you have some numbers where they rank. But yeah,
Yeah.
fun.
Well, yeah, no, to that point. So the hitters are hitting still. Madison Pickens, Chelsea Mack, both hitting over 450. And that's like a legit at bats. You know, it's not the 20 at bats and they've just done really well. Like they're everyday starters. The team as a whole has 117 stolen bases, which is number 1 in stolen bases in Power 4 schools, which I think is really saying something because you're facing some really good catchers. This is not a team with a lot of power. They do have less than 40 home runs to your about just seeing balls fly in some of these other teams, but they have 106 doubles and 25 triples. So they are a top 5 team in doubles in the country, and they are second in the NCAA in triples. So I actually think they're number 1 in doubles. Is that accurate?
Yeah,
They have 106.
I think they were. I don't know. I don't want to lie. They're up there. They're hitting a lot of
They're
doubles.
up there,
And
yeah.
you know what? They have a big field, but so is Palmer Park. It plays big too at Virginia, where the ACC tournament's going to be. So that'll be fun to watch them play there and just run. And with all those stolen bases, it's like you can basically add every single they hit into a double because they're just going to get on and take second base the next pitch. So it's fun. It's a fun style of ball that we don't get to see very much, and Louisville has mastered it. Good on them. I'll be excited to see them in person.
Yeah, agree. So, are we going to get into our projected awards, ACC awards?
Let's just make sure we went through all the notables. Tyrena Jones, no single season home run record. Cassidy Kurd, complete game shutout record. Jazzy with a no-hitter. Virginia, Taylor Smith, freshman, threw a no-hitter against NC State. Issa Torres, doing Issa Torres. And then, let's do it. Let's go into
All right.
our postseason, can't believe we're already here, awards would be. So the ACC gives out Player of the Year, Pitcher of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, and Coach of the Year. And these are based on ACC performances, not overall before anybody comes at us. These are just ACC performances. All right.
Yeah. So any stats we have are ACC's only stats.
And that's what the coaches will be voting based on when they come out with their awards. All right. Player of the Year. Any question there?
I think so. I think that she's going to be a contender for National Player of the Year, and rightfully so with what she's been able to do. But Britt and I both agree that Issa Torres is without a doubt the best all-around player in the Atlantic Coast Conference. She's number 2 in batting average, hitting .485 in conference-only play. She's top 5 in hits, top 3 in home runs, top 3 in extra base hits. Like what she's been able to do for this Florida State team and the success that they've had, it is no question the impact she's had.
Yeah, I think no errors at shortstop. I would, just based on ACC numbers, Jess Oakland, though, is having, if she's hitting .487, 5 doubles, 8 home runs, 30 RBIs, .559 on base percentage. So she is having a breakout ACC season this year. But I just think Issa, ACC-wise, edged her out in a couple things. Jess Oakland makes a really good case for herself, too. But Issa Torres gets my vote.
I think also, I mean, let's call it what it is. I think a big part of this is the fact of non-ACC play. Issa Torres will be making a run, at least we very confidently feel as though she should, as National Player of the Year. And I have a hard time justifying how are you going to be a National Player of the Year if you're not even your Conference Player of the Year, too. So personally, that's kind of a big reason, too, where I stand. But to your point, there are some fantastic numbers that have been done in ACC-only play. If you want her to have a chance as a conference, like if you want a National Player of the Year to come out of the ACC, you have to give Issa Torres the ACC Player of the Year award, in my opinion.
And it's not giving it to her. She earns it. She earned
100%. Sorry. That is
No,
absolutely.
you're good. All right. I wish we had is this my time to say I wish we had an Offensive Player of the Year? Which is crazy, but we can get into that. All right. Who do you have for Pitcher of the Year?
Pitcher of the Year. Okay, I like this. We're going to divert a little bit. For ACC stats, Pitcher of the Year, Ashtyn Danley has been fantastic. She leads the conference in ERA. She's at a 1.59 ERA. She's thrown just over 40 innings of work. She's only given up 28 hits, has 3 saves. Again, you talk about an impact player. Ashtyn Danley has been just that in really big moments for Florida State.
Yeah, I think for me, I was kind of surprised as I'm looking down the ACC stat line, like how good she's been. Like she doesn't get all the starts or whatnot, but she comes in big situations, slams the door, has fantastic numbers that you just rattled off. I mean, 38 strikeouts in 44 innings is big. Hitters are only batting 181 against her. And I think the other player that I was looking at was Jazzy Francik, who has good numbers. She has more wins than Danley, but her ERA's over 2. But I just think Ashtyn Danley, what she's done in the circle, she gets my pitcher of the year as well.
Yeah, same. All right, you want to go back on your saga now and do defensive player of the year, but you really feel as though we also should have an offensive player of the year?
Yeah, like if we're going to
Yeah.
have a player of the year and then a defensive player of the year, why is there not an offensive player of the year? Offensive player of the year for me would be Emily Leggett. She's my offensive player of the year. She's been fantastic. She's hitting 448, 15 home runs in conference, 15 in conference, 35 RBIs, just under 600 on base percentage. I don't know. I have this little tiny hammer in my hand, if everyone's wondering, but she's my offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
But it doesn't exist, but it should. Anyway.
But if it did, that would be her.
Yes,
I
she
gotcha.
deserves some freaking notoriety for what she's done.
I agree. Well, and that's, yeah, unfortunately, it's like I had Issa Torres, like you did, in the spot for defensive player of the year for the conference. She's at shortstop, 0 errors committed, both in conference play and in general this season. Like, again, absolutely insane as a complete package type of player. But I even had Emily Leggett on here as a defensive because I think that she deserves some flowers. And she also has not committed an error in conference play, but she plays first base, which, love my
Your
first
first
baseman.
and stuff.
Yeah, but it's not the same
shortstop.
kind of stress, right? It's not the same stress and pressure and opportunities that shortstops get. And it's not the same level of difficulty, in my opinion. So what Issa Torres has been able to do, but Emily Leggett has been fantastic all the way around as well.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised that we've agreed on most
I
of
know.
these, or all of
Yeah.
these so far. How about freshmen?
Actually, yeah, all of them. Yeah, freshmen. So again, we do both feel that Brie Carrico has been amazing. I think what she's been able to do, she's actually second in the conference as a whole in ERA, and only a freshman just gives me so much hope and excitement for what's to come for her. She's thrown 47 innings. She's only given up 37 hits. She does also have 1 save, and I think she's been a big piece to that Virginia Tech staff.
It's been huge. I mean, she came
Yeah.
out of nowhere too. Like she redshirted last year. So if you go to their website, it says sophomore, but she did not play last year. So she's a
No.
redshirt freshman this year. And she's pitching like a junior or senior, just the way she attacks hitters and changes speeds. Just she is very mature in the circle, and her numbers back it up. So for me, I think that was, you could look at Sarah Bro and Gabby Shattuck, the way she's playing as of late. She just doesn't have enough at bats. She didn't get in and become like a mainstay starter for Duke until a couple weeks ago, and she's putting up phenomenal numbers. But Carrico, from start to finish, has been, take her out of that Virginia Tech rotation, they're in trouble in the ACC.
Agree. So shout out to all of our players of the year. Next, we'll talk, not pitcher, coach of the year, coaching staff of the year. And this was the only area that I think we saw maybe different opportunities, but I think that both are pretty valid. You want to start?
Yeah, I'm going with Holly April at Louisville. I think just the turnaround, now that they're sitting solid 3rd place in the ACC. I'm not sure anybody saw this coming, especially with Charlotte Lorenz leaving. And, I just think what she's done this year with this team. Last year, they were 25 and, let's say 26 and 25, 1 game over 500. They only won 9 games in the ACC, came in 10th. This year, they're 41 and 10, 16 and 5 in the ACC. They're third and in the conference. It's just like amazing. Go from 10 to 3 in 1 year, a year that you're 1 game over 500, to where they are today, winning 41 games. Like
in the top 25. Yeah.
Yeah. Ranked in the top 25. And they didn't get a ton of transfers in either. Like, she's doing it with her pieces. I think that's just a really great job of coaching.
I agree.
All right.
So Shout out to
You
Coach
don't
April
agree. You,
because
you agree, but you don't agree.
I agree, but I don't agree. Well, but I feel like it's the same theme. So, like, you talk about, a big piece of Louisville's success being all because of what Coach April and the staff have brought to these players and their abilities and their knowledge. And so, from a coaching standpoint, I actually still don't have an answer. I think it's going to be, to me, my coaching staff of the year is whoever wins the ACC regular season. And right now, it's a fight between Florida State and Duke. If Florida State sweeps this weekend, they win the ACC regular season, and I think should be your ACC coaching staff of the year. If they drop a game to Boston College, it's a tie between Duke and Florida State in that number one spot, and that's when I don't actually know. Maybe Duke would be it, in my opinion, but I think that it's so close because I think that both of these teams have had a lot of struggles and that a lot of their success, you see the games that Duke have won that have been against some of the best opponents have, in my opinion, yes, of course, the players are good, but been a management win, like a staff management, a team management win, because they are capitalizing on every facet of their game. It's not, just one side of the ball that's really packing the punch.
I
I mean,
mean,
this is a team.
where's the young
This is a
putting
team.
KK Mathis to pitch, right?
That's exactly. And this is a team that has lacked depth in areas, and they have figured it out, and they have made decisions to move people and do things that have put themselves in positions to win ball games. So shout out to the Duke coaching staff. And I think the same for Florida State. I think that they're good. I think that, like, the team, I think that there are parts of their game where I'm like, wow, like that was fantastic. Obviously, like Torres, like one of the best players that have probably or will ever come through college softball, of course. But they're okay at a lot of things, and they're very good at a lot of things. But I think that things that make them great are because of management decisions as well. So I feel that way about both squads, and I think it'll come down to who wins the regular season.
Awesome.
That was very long-winded,
No,
but there we are.
it deserves an explanation because you're not just picking because they won. You're picking because of what they had to do to win and how they managed their team. All right. Well,
You
good.
made it sound way better.
Award season
Always do.
is done. Whatever comes out, they're wrong, we're right. No, just kidding. A lot of deserving people. All right, last segment, BS or no BS. All right, first one, we saw a lot of senior weekends happen this past weekend. Alex, I'm curious, yes or no BS? Coaches should start their seniors on senior day, even if they're not starters.
I'm going to say BS. I think that it's about winning games, and I'm sorry, like, you will get your recognition, you will get your opportunity in whatever that role is, but you do not need to start just because you are a senior. I think if the opportunity presents itself within the game to get somebody in, the coach should try their best to do that. I don't think it's mandatory.
I agree with you. I feel like a senior day is a lot more exciting if you walk up the field with a win, and putting your team in the best situation to win the game is you put your team first. But that's just our opinion. All right. BS, no BS. Teams have their lineups this time of year set, ready to go, know what to expect last week of play and into the conference tournaments.
I'm going to say BS on this as well, because I think that a lot of teams, whether it's injury or just people are beat up right now, I think that a lot of teams are still figuring it out, and they don't have a lot of time left to do that. So they're experimenting right now. Like, you look at the lack of depth in the circle across the country. I think teams are still trying to manipulate rotations to see what will work or what could work if they are playing one team, a different team every day for the conference tournament, or if they're looking at trying to play a series and what would be for a super regional and how to beat a team twice in a weekend. So I think that they don't have their lineup set at this point still.
And I think that's kind of new. I feel like in the past, like, you have your set lineups, your set rotations, but I think the offense this year has really thrown a wrench in a lot of coaches' game plan for the season and now, and to kind of not have that set in stone and that unknown is new territory for a lot of teams and coaches. It'll be interesting.
Agreed.
It's going to be a crazy postseason. I think that's just another wrinkle in it. All right, last one. BS or no BS? The fact that not all of the ACC teams make it to the ACC tournament, whereas the SEC, all 15 of their teams do get to play in their SEC tournament.
I think that I think no BS, because I don't think it should be automatic that you get to make it to a tournament. I think that is something that is earned. So I do actually like the way that the ACC does it. And there is a lot of value to your conference games through the season. Of course, you always want to win because the bigger picture, hosting all the things, but I don't think that everybody should make it. I don't know. I think it's something that's earned.
I like that. Very, very cool. Hadn't thought about it like that. That's all we have. Couple series coming up this weekend. You have those pulled up, Alex?
Yep. So Florida State is headed to Boston College. Again, they have to sweep to outright win the ACC regular season. Georgia Tech plays Furman in a midweek, and that will be their season finale game. Clemson and Duke are both done for the season.
Crazy.
And crazy. Virginia Tech plays Syracuse this weekend. UNC is done with regular season play. And I think that's about it.
A couple out of conference games that
would
would only hurt them. But last thing, how weird was it to see Cal have their senior day celebration at Stanford because they were the home team at Stanford? But this ACC, anything goes here.
And Cal's getting a new field. So I feel like, you know what? It is what it is. Yeah. They're doing it for the bigger picture.
Thank you for your sacrifice to go to your arch rival school and have your senior day.
Be like, can I have my, seriously. Like, can you imagine? But no. Okay. But yeah, that's it. So last week of regular season, and we'll see you guys in Virginia.
Yeah, we'll do our next show from Virginia. Let's do it. Bye.
Bye.